Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. So today I'm going to do a quick review of the new Deftones album release, Ohms. So out today, had a listen this morning and I've got to say I'm pretty impressed. So let's give a quick run through of the songs and what to expect from this album. Now with Deftones, for me, there's some albums that I think are outstanding. And I'll name them albums. They're The White Pony, Around the Fur, and Diamond Eyes, for me, are when Deftones are at their best. And other times they're a bit hit and miss. You know, the Deftones self-titled release ain't great for me. Saturday Night Wrist as well. So, you know, they can blow hot and cold. So I was a bit concerned about this release. I thought, you know, what we're going to get, especially Deftones, the self-titled album, for me, not enough melody, songs running into one another, like, you know, like there wasn't much separation. That sort of whispery voice from Chino Marino taken to the extreme sometimes, where it's just, you know, the songs are not going anywhere and he's just whispering over the music. That's how Deftones was, this self-titled album, to me. I wasn't impressed, especially after White Pony. So with this album, let's get onto this one. So what you get here is the influences that the band obviously take from, hidden behind a real metal album. So their influences really vary. You're talking 80s pop, you know, Duran Duran, some of their other influences, Depeche Mode, stuff like that. So what they've done really clever with this album, they've got that coming in and out of a lot of these songs, going from heavy to mellow, some really cool sounding songs. You know, I was really worried about this album, but I had nothing to worry about. I think this is a big improvement on the last album, Gore. It's got a lot more melody. Chino Marino, he's not just whispering all the way through it. He's showing his strength of his voice as well, and I love his voice. It's great. No one else sounds like Deftones. No one else. A great band, and when they're at their best and they're most experimental, but still keeping it, you know, listenable. They're not just going off on a tangent just to please themselves. You can tell this is something for the fans as well. You know, a lot of fans would be happy with this album. So some of the highlights for me. I'll name just a few songs, not all of them. My favourites, Urantia, or Urantia, not really sure how to pronounce it. Third song in, great song, sort of thrashy riff starts off the song. Then it's, like I said, into this sort of 80s pop mode during the verses, but subtly, do you know what I mean? But then the heavy thrashing riffs going over the sort of like synths in the background. The synths are used really cool in this throughout the album. Sort of almost give like an 80s sort of film, you know, sci-fi sort of film feel to them sometimes. Brilliant. But that's a very cool song, Urantia. Absolutely. It's, you know, I always say that Deftones are the coolest band in the world. They are, you know. If I was like walking through town centre and some fucking idiot comes along with his fucking roof down and his car blaring out some shitty music, I'm the first one to look round and think, what a prick. If someone comes through town centre with his roof down blaring out Deftones, he's cool. He's fucking cool. That's just the way it is. So other highlights on this album. Song called, they've got some weird titles, Pompey, very melancholy verses, sort of almost like a lullaby sang by Chino Marino. Weird. It's really cool, sort of sleepy sort of lullaby he's singing. Then a heavy chorus, guitar becomes heavy again. You know, what he's done with the guitarist in this album, because he was a bit underused in the last album. There was a lot of guitar on Gore, but not in the way it should have been. You know, you listen to Diamond Eyes, the guitar on that album is fucking heavy. you know, it ain't got the same sound on this album, but it's heavy. It's where you want it to be. The guitar's at the front, the synths are sort of like in the background, used really delicately and in a really cool way. You know, that Pompagé as well, it's got a really cool bit in it. And I mentioned earlier on about 80s sort of films. It's more like sort of, it's got some real sort of like synths in it, like out of like a John Carpenter sort of sci-fi film or something. It's so cool. It's so cool. And of course, Deftones never afraid to use, like I said, do different stuff. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, but my favourite song on the album is Headless. It's such a cool song. It's sort of slow. They slow it down a bit on this. The riff is almost like Alice in Chainsy, sort of facelift era, Dirt era, sort of stuttering guitar over the vocals, and then it's like another dreamy sort of chorus. They're so fucking cool at that. They are so cool. And let's not forget the Ohms single. What a great riff that is over the Chino's voice. You know, I thought I was really impressed with this single. I didn't actually listen to the Genesis, which is the second single. I haven't listened to it. It was started off this album. It's quite heavy. It's not one of my favourite tracks, but it's okay. But Ohms was a different class. Absolutely brilliant. Closing out the album. This was a real thumbs up for me, this album. Another great album by Deftones. Getting back again to their, you know, they sort of have little dips, don't they, for me in their career. Well, the only dip really was, for me, the self-titled album. And then Saturday Night Wrist was a bit, you know, and then Gore wasn't so great either. But, you know, they can produce some brilliant music. And this slots right in. I sometimes find with Deftones I can skip a couple of songs on an album. I wasn't thinking that when I was listening to this. I was thinking these are going to fit straight in with some of the best Deftones songs. Great album. I recommend you get it. You know, it's not going to be for everyone who views my channel. I know that. Some people will probably think this is a bit unusual for me to like Deftones. I always have. I think that they were so different than the rest of that sort of genre of new metal, and they were tied in with that shit, you know, in the 90s or in the 2000s and that. But for me, they were something special. They were head and shoulders above all those bands, and that's why now they're still strong, because they are so different. They are so different. So yeah, brilliant album. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 without a doubt. Thank you for listening. Hope you liked my video. Do you like Deftones? If you do, let me know in the comments. What do you think of the new album? Please leave it in the comments below. And if you want to subscribe, please press the red button, bottom right hand corner.